Looking for one of
Hello
these.
and welcome to episode 3 of our Blade Runner game Dances with Replicants on Gabor Games. I am Andy and I'm the game runner. Let me introduce you to my players. Let's start with Dave.
Hey, I'm Dave, and I am playing Detective Reid Wildner, who is a human city speaker.
Richard.
Hi, I'm Richard. I am playing Maximillian Falk, who is a human skimmer.
Rick.
Hi, I'm Rick, and I'm playing Corwin Barimen, who's a human inspector, but he's a bit of a newbie as well.
Yep, very definitely. And then lastly, Javier.
Hello, I'm playing Detective Miles Dallas, a replicant analyst.
Okay, right. So, just for a very quick synopsis, the 4 Blade Runners were summoned and sent to the site of a multiple homicide, where certainly 2, and it's turned out the 3 dead bodies are all of replicants. 1 completely legal Nexus 9 and 2 renegade Nexus 8s. They've recovered vast amounts of different clues of different other replicants who were there, blood samples of a human that was there, and they've then also the Nexus 9 was a guy called Anton who was dressed in what it's turned out to be a sort of competition ballroom dancing clothing, and they have then received a call from an entertainment facility literally almost next door to the abandoned mall where these bodies were found, where at this a place called the Markova Ballroom, and at the Markova Ballroom, and it subsequently turned out that's where Anton worked. Another replicant, a female one called Gabor, has apparently gone rogue, punched one of the singers working there, and then fled. And you have spoken to the singer. She seemed to have raised a number of suspicions in some of you, and you started gathering various bits of evidence. And where we left it last time, I think, let's just go through where I think you are, and then we can correct if I'm wrong. Okay, so Dallas, you are, I believe, still in Anton's room in the tower just below the Markova Ballroom, having searched it and found various interesting electronics. Okay, so and those electronics were, just to remind you, there's various bugs in the room for sort of transmitting, and there is a very small concealed earpiece that can be plugged into an ear that will allow someone to receive a radio signal but not broadcast one, and and both of those had relatively short range. Okay, and there was also a bottle of some sort of medicinal looking unnamed liquid. Yeah, a sort of medicine bottle with some unmarked liquid in it. Okay. Now, Wildner, I think you'd finished gathering all the CCTV footage because there's 3 adjacent towers that you're focusing on, because so the Markova Ballroom is at the top of one, and the mall is at the bottom of another, and then there's a third one and they're all linked with sky bridges linking them at various points, and all 3 towers have got the bottom sealed, but have got, because you're in the entertainment district, they've got quite high-end entertainment businesses, or I think actually one's got a hotel, but they're quite high-end businesses at the top. And then I think you finished gathering that footage, but I don't think you started analysing it yet, had you?
No, I'd lost my tech. So yes, I
Yeah.
was taking them back to Miles. So I think we left it. I just arrived at in the car park in Markova Ballroom.
Okay. Now, Falk, I think you had let the singer, who's Ariana Jiong, I think you let her go with a bug on her that you'd dropped.
And also tracking her taxi.
So you're tracking her taxi, but you'd also put a small little tracking device in her handbag. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got some information to come from that, but I think you are still at the Markova Ballroom, correct, or do you moved on?
I believe that's correct. I believe that's there. Yeah.
Okay. And then Barimen, were you still at the Markova Ballroom as well?
From recollection,
Yes.
yes.
I think you were. Yeah. Okay. So
But we just received a communication about some kind of movie hitting the
yes.
the wave.
Yes.
So Wildner had a phone call from your boss, who is Lieutenant Sawyer, and she had let's just sort of go through that conversation again. So, Wildner, you get a phone call from Lieutenant Sawyer, who says, find a TV unit and get on a news channel. There is footage being shown, apparently, of the shooting. Okay. I am already speaking to contacts. Now, had she said to you yet who she had a name for a source yet?
You said that there was Evie Chakrabarti, who was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The
Yes.
Chakrabarti. That's right.
Yes. She says I've already managed to find out from my contacts that it's that the source of this is a freelance journalist called Evie Chakrabarti, and what's being shown on the news channels is clearly edited. So find this Chakrabarti woman and get the original to see fully what it shows. Okay. Right. So, who would like to go first? Where should we start? Should we start with?
I think we had one person who hadn't yet had a chance to do what they were planning on doing. If I recall, we got to the end of it. Oh no, you did manage to get it done. My bad.
Right, okay.
Well, brief again.
Who would like to go first with something?
I was just going to run around grabbing everyone on the what's it called? The device we have. The Kia, that's the one. Yep. It's been too long. Yes, I was going to call up on the Kia to everyone to, we need a TV. We need to get to a TV. They're streaming the footage.
Right. So, Falk for certain, and I think Barimen, you both know there is a TV in the sort of staff restroom area at the Markova Ballroom. So there's literally one here you can go and make use of if you wish.
Okay.
I'll mention that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, are the three of you gathering in there? Who's going to go and watch the footage? Yep. Okay. So the three of you go in there. I'll come back to Dallas in a sec. So or are you going up to join them as well?
No, I'm gonna. I was in Anton's room.
Yeah.
And I wanted to investigate the listening devices first.
Yep. Okay. Right. So, the footage is clearly it's clearly been edited. It's quite it's a few minutes. Sorry, it's less than a minute of footage. But it and the commentary is saying that they're only prepared to show certain bits because of the level of violence involved. But there is footage of Anton. Do you remember he was strung up? hanging from the mezzanine. Hanging by his wrists from the mezzanine level, and there's someone electrocuting with the car battery, as you had ascertained, and you see that person's face is clearly shown in the footage. Okay. And then, actually, we'll come to that in a sec. And then there's then sorry. So I'm just trying to think how the summary at the end. Then it's sort of it cuts away from that because that's quite a horrible scene. This man being tortured, being electrocuted, and then but there's sort of almost sort of a comment about the extent of the torture. The torture was extensive, rather, and then it then cuts to a slightly wider angle of shot, and actually the three of you can make me tech rolls. In fact, actually, sorry, make a someone lead a tech roll, and one other person can assist.
Okay, I've got C on tech. My tech is C.
Better. My tech is all. Come on.
Sorry, you cut out. What's the role?
No,
it's a tech roll.
I'm saying do a team tech roll. So one person lead it, and then another person assist it. So
I've got D.
I've got D.
So
it's
so Falk lead it, and either Wildner or Barimen, one of you two can assist.
What do we use the raw requisite?
Yeah.
No, sorry. No. What it is that that gives Falk advantage. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah, you just roll your tech number, though, don't you?
Yeah.
No worries.
Is it automatic? I've forgotten the rules all of a sudden. Is it automatic advantage, or do you have to succeed to give advantage?
I think it's just by helping you give. I think helping you give advantage.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Right. So, Falk, you notice some things about this video. Yeah.
Yep.
The camera doesn't wobble at all. It's very much a fixed camera, and it seems to be a static camera as well, but it does seem to flip from being a focus shot of the torture, and then when it seems to then when it cuts to almost the next bit it's showing, the next edit, the camera widens out like someone has basically zoomed back in from something, from zooming in, and what it shows, and you hear a lot of yelling, people yelling, "What's going on here? What are you doing?" Things like that, and then several people charge in, probably at least half a dozen seen on camera, including the two other dead replicants you found. Okay. And there are several other people coming with them whose faces are have been blurred. Okay. Yeah. On the footage, but then a firefight breaks out. A very one-sided firefight, but a firefight breaks out with the guy who was seen doing some torturing. Who he, as it all kicks off, he's got a sort of I forgot the name for them, but a sort of cloth that he can pull up over his nose, bandana. Yeah. No, sorry. Is it called a snood? Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Yeah. He's got something like that. Anyway, so he can pull up and cover over his face, And then there's then it's more heard rather than seen, but there are almost a continuous almost slicing noise of machine pistols firing. Yeah, and it's there's clearly some training here because there's almost no break in the firing, which must come from multiple people firing. Okay, and the camera then catches the guy doing who was doing the torturing, and a couple of other guys running up the stairs, and then the two replicants who weren't whose faces haven't been pixelated, you see them get cut down. So they and a couple of others charge forward armed with various melee weapons, and you see some of the pixelated pixelated people hang back, but you can see them firing essentially pistols. They've come with to the fight with pistols, and they've encountered much heavier weaponry, and it's very quickly a one-sided fight, and then smoke grenades are thrown down from the mezzanine level, at the top of the escalator, and that's when the video ends.
Mm-hmm.
So am I right in thinking that everyone whose body we found wasn't pixelated?
Correct.
And everyone that got away, of whatever side, was pixelated?
No.
The people torturing Anton, those were not pixelated.
Those were not,
right?
but
yes. So the deceased weren't pixelated.
By the time most of them appear on camera, they've also pulled masks up over their faces.
But there is one that we got a good look at. Yeah.
Yes.
So can our Kias match that face or anything?
Yep. That and I will let Falk's tech roll count for that. But just one other thing to just tell you. The way the commentary of the this is the commentary of the news the newsreader, the news journalist presenting this footage on the TV station. They are talking about it being an anti-replicant anti-replicant torture that was then broken up by pro-replicant groups. And they're talking about it all being anti-replicant, and that's what was going on.
The truth is
not convinced.
But that's how the journalists are portraying it. Is the key thing. Whether that's right or wrong, you can decide or investigate.
So in the scale of, I don't know, from the Times to the Daily Star, where does this journalist sit on that sliding scale?
Sorry, the news journalist or the lady that you've heard the footage came from. It's not her presenting it. She's apparently the source of the footage. It's now being presented by
someone else.
Yeah, someone else. But you meaning the one that's actually presenting it on the TV?
Yes.
This is sort of a 24-hour news station. News is entertainment. Very slick, very cheesy. Someone who you just wouldn't trust to be telling you the truth.
So Fox.
That's plastic people. Fox. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the yeah. Right, bear with me. Now, you do just bear with me a second. I should look something up. There we are. So, there's a very good picture on there, and your Falk, your Kia gets a positive ID match. For a man called Lars Avant, who is works for a company called Takach BioWare and is a security team leader. Did that pop up?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, so that's the face of the man who appears to have been doing the torturing.
But that's a new face that we hadn't seen
Yeah.
before, isn't it?
Yeah,
Seen him
that
before.
is. Say again, sorry, Rick?
I said we haven't seen him before. It
No.
doesn't say replicant there, does it?
No, he is human.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
When the camera pulls all the way pulls back, does it seem like it pulls all the way back? Because there's usually some degree of fisheye in that sort of thing.
You've got a 3 on your tech roll. You would say the camera is probably in there. It's not someone with a photo lens through an open window or something like that. The camera is definitely in the building.
You said it's fixed.
But it's not moving. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
it could
it
just
was someone holding a handheld
tripod.
camera, there would have been some degree of movement.
Two things occur. Either A, it's on a tripod, or B, it's still there.
Or
Because
was.
it's to a
It
wall.
may have been moved. But
Or-
it could also be a CCTV camera.
Yeah.
If it's one that's been put in there, why did she think to put a camera in a place that was sealed up?
Well, shall we find out whether there's anything there?
Right. So just from your searches, sorry, from the angle, by the way, it's on it's on the ground floor, but right at the top of it, sort of almost
Ceiling is what you're
Almost
saying.
at the
possibly on
mezzanine.
the ceiling of the mezzanine level.
Looking down. Like
Yeah.
that.
So slight down, yeah.
So where we'd expect to see a CCTV camera, you mean?
Yeah, but from your searches, particularly Falk's, you did not see a camera there. But you've got enough footage here. You can work out roughly where it was. If you were to return, you know exactly where to go and look.
We'll go back and then we'll...
Sounds like it was temporary emplacement, though.
Yeah. Ideal fingerprint scenario.
Well, maybe.
Maybe a drone.
Maybe a drone.
They can be pretty steady, yeah.
Everything's drones these days.
Well, not so much in Blade Runner.
Yes,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Well,
True.
there's some pretty sophisticated drones in the later film.
Yes.
The one that comes out the back of his car. Anyway, sorry. Right. So that's the footage. Let's just cut to Dallas a sec. Sorry. Was one of you going to immediately go to the site and check that out, or?
No, I think I want to review the footage. Just make sure we've picked anything out of it that we can.
Okay.
So I'll spend a little bit of time doing that.
Okay. By the way, if you want to make if you want to see if you've heard of Evie Chakrabarti, by the way, she is someone who might be appropriate for a connections check.
I'll definitely go for that. I think Rick might also know, but maybe even better than I do.
Sorry, is Barimen going to go and check on the site now?
I think I will actually, because as the newbie, he's got the bit between his teeth and he's off. All the old boys, they're going like, yeah, well, we'll have another look at the video. And hey, where's the newbie gone?
Yeah.
Right. So Falk,
Coffee.
you don't know with what needs more than one success. So I don't know if you wish to push, but one is not enough.
One.
And sorry, also Wildner, you can have a roll as well if you wish.
Yeah, I'll give it one.
Oh,
No.
Right. So, okay. So Falk, unfortunately, you don't know her, but Wildner, you, I think you've probably met her on that. Right. So,
you know where she lives, maybe.
no, but you would know how to contact her. The key element you know about her beyond what I've put here with the 3 successes is that she is known to have sympathies with elements of the replicant underground. She is human, though. Okay. Did that pop up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's sort of bills herself as a freelance investigative journalist, and you have contact. You know how to contact her.
let Falk know. I recognise her. I think we can get hold of her. We should try and track her down as soon as possible.
So yes, she's actually a member of a pro-replicant rights protest group called Equality, and as well as being a member of, known to have links to the Replicant Underground. So she's very definite in her opinion. Okay. Right. So Barimen goes off to look at the bottom of the building. Okay. Back to the mall. Okay. Dallas. Right. So you've got the
receiver. Yes.
The almost like an earbud communicator, receiver only, plus these plus the microphones that are bugged around her room. Okay. Now,
you mentioned they were short range. How short? Are we talking like 10 feet, 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet?
No, longer than that. So essentially, Anton's room is on. As I said, there's sort of three towers that are effectively in like a triangle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Anton's room on the tower you're on is on the inside of that. Okay. And it's probably got enough range. Sorry, it's definitely your tech knowledge for certain. It's got enough range to be received both ways from someone in one of the other towers, but no further than that.
Yeah, and what sort of technology is it? Like something that you can find everywhere, but it's some sort of a specialized tech that I may be able to track.
It's it will have serial numbers on. You need time to try and trace it down. It's definitely something that would be used by security personnel or the military or quite possibly the police. It's not something that would be commercially available without a good reason.
All right. So nothing you can buy in a corner store. So it might be worth following on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is very good quality technology.
Okay, I'm going to grab it then.
Yeah. Okay. So you're removing the bugs from the room.
Just if I take them, maybe they will. I will not. I will just, inconspicuously try to get all the information I need to be able to track them. But I don't want to, give anyone else.
So you have a look at them, identify, extract some serial numbers for both the bugs and the. Are you taking the earbud or are you leaving the earbud? Because you did put it in. You put it in originally,
yes.
But you're not. Yeah. No one is transmitting on it at the present moment.
I'm gonna take it with me.
Okay.
Or if I can clone the frequency or something, so I can receive it.
Yeah, with your tech skills, yes, you could definitely clone the frequency to receive it on your Kia. Yes.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna record all the frequencies that are being used. If there's any encryption, I will try to extract the keys out of the devices.
Okay.
All the hacker stuff to.
Okay. And then what are you doing with the vial of the sort of medical vial of
that? I will pocket and I will take with me to the lab. If I can do some sort of quick analysis with my Kia, maybe if it's some sort of acid of a gamma compound.
Okay. No, I think you need to go to a lab to do a proper analysis of that.
Okay, I will do that then. Yeah, okay. I will take it with me.
Okay. Right. Next thing that happens is Falk. You get a message on your Kia from HQ where you'd ask someone to follow what's happening with that taxi, and that taxi appears to have gone only about 10 blocks from the Markova Ballroom with Ariana Jiong in it, landed at ground level, and then taken off again. And so you get a message informing you of where this has happened, with a request of, do you want me to continue following?
Yes, please.
Okay.
If I can, I'll quickly check the tracker that I put on her to see if it still marries up the same place or close to where she was dropped off.
Right. It is right. You get definitely some information, but just give me a tech roll for an extra piece of information. It's definitely it's not associated with the taxi anymore. It's you got one. Okay. So yes,
I think I'll stick with that.
Yeah. So you've got one. Right. So it is now separate to the taxi, but you're also able to work out. You're pretty certain that it's still at ground level, and it appears to be moving slowly, as in probably walking speed, further away from the Markova Ballroom. So
No problem.
it seems like Ariana Jiong has gone has sort of gone on foot.
Okay. I will tell I'll update. I'll update everyone what's just been mentioned.
Okay.
And turn and see that Barimen isn't there. Where the bloody hell did he go?
Right.
He got excited.
If he's having a cigarette break, I'm going to have words.
He might have had a cigarette on the way.
So Barimen, you go and check out. Let's just flip to the map.
You can go ahead, okay.
Yeah. There. So just back to the map of the mall. Okay, so
Someone roll 20. Load this map.
is the map not loaded? Right, let me know when the map is loaded.
I'm getting, you know how it comes in degraded and then
Yeah.
it's still degraded.
Okay.
It's thinking about it. You've got to love the cloud. Oh, we're here.
You there? Right. Okay. So, right.
I've got some purple crosses.
Yeah, those were Javier annotating the map previously.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please give me a what's the right skill? An observation check with advantage, please, because you know where to look.
Advantage and observation. The answer to your question is: are bears Catholic? Oh no, that's the wrong thing, isn't it?
Okay. So, what you find are about here. So I'm on the lower map. Yeah, the level 2, but at about this point on the
tweak again. Thank you. Yeah.
On the mezzanine, so you can see I'm clicking this back because you can see the mezzanine, but underneath it, the ceiling of so essentially it's about here. I mean on the upper map, but the ceiling of the mezzanine level. Yeah.
Between maps. Give me again. Oh, I see. Right, the mezzanine overhangs.
Yeah. The mezzanine overhangs. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it.
And so about there, in the ceiling of the mezzanine, what you find are several marks in the ceiling. Okay. And with your observation check and the discussions you've had and the mention of drones, what you think possibly that is, because actually, as you're looking at it, you then follow a line of these marks in the ceiling, all the way back to a broken air vent here.
Ooh.
Ooh.
And what your estimation is, it's probably a spider drone. So a drone that has then essentially walked itself across the underside of the ceiling. Yep. Javier, is this you doing this? This is brilliant. I love this. You're I'm really pleased with this. Yeah,
I do that a lot.
Okay.
You can ask Dave.
No, that's fine with me. It's good with me. Right. But yeah. So what you've got though is you've got essentially the marks, almost like claw marks, for want of a better description, of the feet of a spider drone walking across the ceiling and securing itself, and then deeper ones where it's ended and it seems to have locked itself in place, and then it's not there anymore.
Did we get any indication from the footage that we've seen, or little bits of it, whether the filming had started after the doors had been ripped open?
No, the film had definitely started before that, because there's the torture scene,
right?
And there's what you interpret as a torture scene. There's no actual questioning going on. There's just someone sticking
just some brutality
electrodes on a.
Is it edited in such a way that you wouldn't be able to tell anyway? So is it like the end of the questioning or mid questioning? Yes.
Hard to say. Hard to say.
Can we deduct any information about the type of drone they used out of the claw marks, the distance between each other?
Oh, it's small. It's about the size of a hand.
Well, I used my Kia to photograph them.
Yeah, just in case he left something that might help identify, because again, this probably is not technology you can buy.
Shapes.
Yeah.
And I'll also photograph the broken grille so that you can analyse whether it was pushed out or whether it was pre-broken or whether it was just an unfortunate break.
I mean, what you mean? Yeah, if it went in through that hole or somewhere else.
So did somebody wrench it down, secrete the drone, leave the building, wait? Yeah, or did it come in from the outside of the building through a fortunately broken? There's no such thing as coincidence, is there? Right? A coincidental and fortunately broken grill, or has somebody got a hold of that grill with their hands, fingerprints, DNA, and wrenched it?
There are definite signs of rust on this grill. It looks like it has been broken at some point in the past. It does appear, and actually, as you look further at these tracks, it appears that there's one set coming in and another set coming out. So the drone has come in and then walked back out as well on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, the vent that leads to the outside, or does it lead to some sort of vent system throughout the whole building?
No, it's actually it's almost sort of like a glorified air brick. It leads.
All right, just
outside. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yep.
Let's have a look outside then. Thank you for that. Thank you for that piece of detective work.
Outside, I'll let that observation check carry on. Outside, you find the air vent. It's about 8 foot. You could just about reach it if you were to jump, but you can see that you find something to stand on and have a proper investigation. You can see marks in the wall that correspond to these the claws of the spider drone coming down probably 2 or 3 feet and then disappear. So it's like someone must have stood here to put it on.
So I turn around looking for any level of CCTV. Not that there will be any, because you know where we are.
No, there's none around here.
Is it conceivable that this kind of technology might be, available to someone like, say, a freelance journalist
Potentially, yes. Yep.
Okay.
This is it's not. Wouldn't be unheard of. No.
All right. So it's
Had to get
possible
the
that it was
footage
just
somewhere.
probably just her investigating the case of who knows, right? Anyway.
Okay. Right. Is Barimen staying there, or are you moving somewhere else now?
I'm going to rejoin the rest of the flock
At the Markova Ballroom.
because I remember that there was another thread that you threw over the fence at us and chuckled just before we left, which was they all had outside coats and yet should have lived in the building, but obviously didn't.
Yes. So yes, Anton's coat was found folded below his, or dumped below his body, and Gabor when she fled after punching around John, she picked up her coat and fled. I mean, she was wearing high heels and dressed in a sort of in competition ballroom dancing outfit, so she's hardly dressed for it. But she's got a big long coat. From the footage, it's going down to sort of below the knee, so it's
an outdoors coat,
absolutely.
isn't it? Moving around outside, right?
And quite a practical coat. And now that you come to think of it, sorry, is Barimen going back to the Markova Ballroom then? Yeah,
I will, because I'll check in via the Kia with the other guys, say what I found, send my photos up so that they can all see it, and we can have that discussion that we've just had.
Okay.
And then say, well, I'm coming back, unless you've got any other ideas.
Question: did you tell us about the person you saw in the crowd in the first session? Or is it worthwhile you're down there going to check the expert on your car?
Yes,
because that might match the same face as the person who was doing the torturing. Or
no, it is not. No, it's not. It's not. Right.
Still want to know who he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check the data on my car. Or it's not actually a car, is it?
Spinner.
Spinner.
Spinner. Or my fidget spinner.
You got the budget one.
That's right. Everyone else has got a car that flies. That looked mysteriously like wine there, Dave.
It is. It's not very mysterious, but it is wine, yes.
And it's the right colour too, red.
There's only one colour I'll drink.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
No, because the guy who you saw, who Barimen saw, was a black guy, heavily built,
head.
shaven head, and moustache, and a bit sort of soul patch type tuft.
Salt and pepper moustache and beard.
No, not salt and pepper. No, soul patch. So sort of a moustache, a bit there, and sort of a bit unshaven around the rest, but very much a moustache and soul patch. Yeah. So it's definitely not the torturing guy.
But I'll still go back to my
yeah. Okay. Right. So now someone had already tried to figure this. I think you'd already had a go at this in the first session, but what you didn't have, that was just what you hadn't yet done was trying to gather all the footage from the other police spinners that turned up and try to catch images. That was what you were trying to do. So, and that was I said that before. That's going to require a tech roll. So, do you want to try and do that yourself, or do you want to? Because I think that was one of the tasks that was being passed to Dallas, to be fair.
Can it be done remotely by Dallas?
I'm in the building. I can just screen now, right?
Can he do it remotely?
If Dallas is back at his lab, is Dallas going back to his lab, did you say?
Eventually, yes, but I mean, I'm assuming that I'm collecting all the data, and if in the meantime he gives me a call, he might catch me, on my way down from the building.
So where is Dallas going? So you've finished in Anton's apartment. Where are you going then?
I will just go down and head to the headquarters, to the lab.
I'm not sure we've finished with you, Dallas. I'm not sure we've looked at everyone's accommodation. So we've looked at Spangly Ballroom Man's accommodation.
You did also. You've already looked at Gabor's as well.
Yeah.
And Gabor's was that was covered very quickly. There's nothing suspicious in that at all. It was searched. Dallas has already searched that, found nothing odd at all, and then moved on from there.
Okay. So
did they also do Ariana's?
Yeah. What about Ariana's?
Ariana doesn't live there. Ariana is a human, and she has. So, because she was wanted to go home.
Railed by Mr. Snitch over
there. Right. So, okay. So is Dallas going back to HQ so he can get into a lab and do various things like look at this footage?
Yeah, I'll upload all the footage to the.
Okay. So you go back to your headquarters. Okay. What are the other three of you doing, please?
Well, I think I'm going to head off. If we've got nothing else at the ballroom, I think I'm going to try and head off and find Evie Chakravarti.
Okay.
I know where she might be found.
One thing that you have talked about, and it isn't necessarily for you, but one thing that some of you have talked about doing is you'd found the names of the principal customers of each of Anton and Gabor. And
we want to look into those.
Yep, and
Spray and
it says Avril Desai.
Yes,
and
Prey Kawasaki. Is it?
Yes, Prey Kawasaki. Now, Prey Kawasaki, you've already got some information on, because you've been told now. You've been told that she's an officer in the UN Armed Forces. You can get from Mayor Decote, the owner of the Markova Ballroom, you can get their details of their well, principally their account details that they pay through, which you can then run a check to get IDs on, should you wish. And that's something you could do straight away now from your Kia.
Yeah, we'll do that before we head out.
Okay.
I don't know what Richard wanted to do. If he wanted to.
Well, I was thinking digging for information regarding Darius and Mikey, the replicants, to see how they're on the system without having been retired.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is possible to do on your Kia, but would be easier done back at HQ.
Okay.
So are you going?
I'll head back to HQ.
You're going to head back to HQ, okay?
On my way out, I'll ask the unis to canvass for if anyone saw. I'm not expecting anyone to have seen it, but if anyone saw that front plate being removed,
the security front plate from the door, yeah, okay,
yeah.
They have already been asking that question, and unfortunately, Falk, says one of them, everyone appears to have been blind.
Better normal then.
Yeah. Definite lack of cooperation around here.
Oh, am I back?
Yep. So,
you're in and out, Richard.
Oh, yeah. Right.
There
Okay. So, Barimen, you right. So Falk has gone back to HQ. Dallas has gone back to HQ. Wildner is going to go and try and physically find Chakrabarti. What is Barimen going to do?
I'll go with Wilder because that's two of us back of HQ and then two of us paired.
Okay. Okay. So just to give you a bit more information, so you can get some basic details on so Prey Kawasaki. is this lady. Okay. And sorry, just to say from her ID, it gives her military unit and so on, and from that you're able to work out that she's normally commanding units of replicant soldiers on peacekeeping operations in the outer colonies. Okay. And then Avril Desai is this lady, and actually the photo is actually something that's been taken in the Markova Ballroom. And so she's a bioengineer working for a company called Takach BioWare.
That name's come up before.
And yeah, her hobby is ballroom and Latin dancing.
Marvelous.
Okay. Okay. So, I think that's probably the end of that shift. So let's start a new shift. So you're now, bear in mind, it's now time-wise, because this all started in the, oh, I forgot the time it started. Just bear with me, please, callers. I just need to find a spreadsheet, which I have not opened. Right. So roughly, you arrived at the mall at about 9:30 at night. The firefight was reported at about 9 o'clock, roughly. Gabor seems to have assaulted Ariana Jeong at about 10 o'clock. And backtracking on the footage for the Anton, you know, Anton sort of went downstairs and went through that door. Yeah. That was at about 6 o'clock. Okay. But it's now, I would say it's now about at least 11 o'clock, maybe later. And so, yeah, that shift finishes. We're now moving to the next shift. Okay. You can carry on working. That's not a problem, but just it is quite late, and you have to rest. I think it's one shift in 4, otherwise you start taking. Is it one shift in 3?
1 in 3, unless
3,
you've got married to the job.
Okay. Which Falk does, doesn't
it? I don't have.
You don't have, right?
What time of day is it again? Sorry.
So it's about 11:30 at night now.
So, assuming that everyone kind of lives a little bit like we do at the moment, the chance of finding anyone up at this time of night.
Well, no.
Nightlife could be quite a lot.
Nightlife is quite extensive here. But you're in the entertainment. You're in the entertainment district for a start, so it's really quite a happening place, and lots of things going on. Both sort of at the top of buildings where the wealthy are going to various fashionable clubs and bars and restaurants and so on, and then at the bottom where there's sort of a bit more for the those that can't afford to move off world.
Okay, well then let's just stick with it then, I guess.
Yep. Okay. So, let's start with actually going back to HQ. Okay. So, Dallas and Falk are going back to HQ, but you're obviously doing separate things. So let's start with Dallas. So you've got a vast amount of things you want to do here. What do you want to start with?
I'm going to start by analyzing the liquid in the pot that I found in Anton's.
Okay, now.
Yeah, because if I can relay that information to my colleagues, walking the streets, that might be useful for them if it's some sort of drug or that is something that can help now. And then I will start with the face identification.
Okay. Do you have the medical aid skill?
I've got the.
Can you make me a medical aid check, please?
Okay.
Because you've got equipment here to help, I will give you advantage.
Oh, cool.
Okay, 2 successes. Okay, so all right. Right. It's it's a highly advanced drug that it appears to have 2 properties. It appears to have been synthesized from some form of scopolamine, which is known to be a truth drug. So it prompts people to tell the truth. But it's a quite highly advanced version of that, and it seems to have had some kind of secondary property added to it that is designed to remove people's short-term memory.
So it's an interrogation drug.
When you don't want the target to know they've been interrogated.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if it's registered of the components of both drugs are registered, they have a name or something. Is this something we can buy on the streets?
No.
This is like military shit. Okay.
This is spy shit, not military shit.
All right. Okay. I will let the others know then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So that takes you a while to synthesize. So to investigate that synthetic compound and so on. It's quite a. That takes you quite a while.
While the mass spectrographer is running or whatever, can I maybe check the face of the guy who was like lurking around?
That is a tech roll to piece together all the footage to try, and you're trying to build an image of. So trying to find an image based on the description you were given by Barimen. Okay.
Yes, and we've got the time as well, right? We know exactly when we arrived and when he just booked it. So
okay.
So it's like straight flat tech then?
Yeah, straight flat tech, please.
Okay, let me do that.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
You end up pulling a candidate list.
My job.
You end up pulling a candidate list of about half a dozen different faces, and you send them off to Barimen. Barimen picks one out, and you then can run him through. Actually, how to say? Where's he gone? Oh, I've just got to check something on my notes.
It may only be on my machine, but every now and again, Rick, when you turn to your, I'm guessing it's to your left because I think these are the cameras are switched. You can disappear off screen. That may be just on my machine, but just so you're aware.
Well, when I do that?
Yeah, when you go that direction where you're facing.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you lean forward or something, and I'll lose some of your face to the point of. Just so you're aware. It may just be on my machine. So.
That probably isn't.
Haven't noticed anything, so.
There's
a
his
roll
books.
there.
Oh,
Observation. Hang on. I had a cat. A cat came in, said hi. There we go. Hello.
Mine's left.
Right, it's
Oh,
brand
man.
new.
Anthony.
This is the face you find. And what you are actually able to ascertain from searches is that face does not correspond to anything in any database.
Oh,
Oh. And that's unusual. Yeah.
Mm.
could be
I
an
might say
N8.
unknown man, even.
Yes.
Mm.
So so we've got spy stuff and a face that isn't on any database.
Yep.
Okay. See my previous comment in the discussion offline.
That pay grades.
As the bad guys were.
It would imply the fact he's not in the database. That would one thing that would instantly suggest to you guys is that he's an undeclared replicant.
Probably an N8 from when after all the records got crashed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think at that point I'll cut to Falk. So I'm going to come back to you, Dallas, in a sec. But for Falk, so you wanted to go and look up the records on was it Darius and Mikey?
Yeah.
So right. So let me just. So that's Darius. And that is Mikey. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, Darius is dead. He's one of the dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And his record, the records were damaged, and but not every single one was destroyed. And his is a record that simply had been retained. Okay.
No problem.
Okay. I'm just about to get confused between NPCs. Give them a sec.
Darius was one of the two that was shot on the stairs, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just remember Mikey was an N8. He was part of the handgun team on the ground floor.
Yes.
By the sort of counter, whatever it was. Just all around that.
You're not certain, but looking at the footage of the assault, you think you can pick Mikey out from, even its pixelated face. You can see possibly it is the
just
same guy.
Body shape or whatever. Yeah.
I think it's Mikey who. Oh, hang on a sec. I think it's Mikey who was actually he's an N8 who was captured at one point, but escaped before he could be retired.
Oh. Oh, bless.
Thank you.
And Falk, looking at that case, it appears that he was arrested by a Blade Runner colleague of yours about 4 years ago. His he was he wasn't immediately retired because Blade Runner in question was convinced that he had information on other replicants, so he wished to interrogate him. But while trying to bring him back to headquarters, Mikey somehow got free, assaulted and nearly killed the Blade Runner, and escaped.
No problem.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
No problem.
Right. Anything further that Dallas wants to do?
I guess. So right now, I mean, I want to go over everything, obviously, but I'm going to prioritize whatever information my colleagues might need. So let's see. Yes, if I can.
Perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think. Yeah, we need to also like put up a search warrant or whatever for the serial numbers of those listening devices and whatnot. Okay. But I also want to know who shows up in the video recordings. We tried to find which guys did we find out which vehicles landed in the.
No, what you've got is you've still got to piece together the footage from all of the security cameras on the tops of the 3 towers to try and pick out what Wildner reckoned was probably some sort of spinner van based on the footprint and the number of people who seem to have left in it. And so that's another tech roll if you want to spend time doing that.
Yes, but I think I'd rather try to find faces and names first, so I can provide them to
faces and names from where?
The video, like.
I need to go to find Evie to get a full video.
Yeah, I think if
you. Yeah.
Yeah, the video you've got at the moment, there's no face on there that you've got that you haven't yet identified. You've got Anton and the 2 other dead replicants. You've got the face of Lars Avant.
But within the club, like I want to know who.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so who Young was spending her time with, and.
So the security footage there. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, she going back through that footage, besides her having a very suspicious looking conversation with Anton, at which point he then left and went abandoning his job and going down and speaking to her and going through that door, after which there's no CCTV footage. But remember that he had a key to the door, and you found a key on his body that may well that you've assumed but not checked is for that door. He also besides the only other, you've got all the footage of her talking to Gabor and being punched by Gabor. Besides that, on the security footage, Ariana Jeong she sings a few numbers. Calling her a singer she's a singer, but she's a backing singer. She's not the lead singer or anything. She's a backing singer for the band, and it's sort of part of the cell of this of the Markova Ballroom is that there's a live band and live singers and so on, and she's singing there generally as a backing singer. She does sing 1 or 2 numbers, but generally as a backing singer. So she's working in most of the rest of the time up until when Gabor assaulted her, and then she seems to have then I mean, she was she was quite possibly concussed by the level of force. I mean, really was punched hard by a replicant, and was clearly sat out dazed. There's not. I don't think there was security footage from inside the staff room, but being escorted there and so on, she's really sort of struggling to stand up, dazed. And if you remember, she hadn't wanted to go and get medical attention.
Yeah.
She just wanted to go home, which from a medical perspective was probably not a good idea.
Yeah. She might be a replicant.
So what?
So from previous days, is she like meeting with like some regular at like a fixed time, like say every day at 6 p.m. This guy shows up, talks to her, they part ways, like something like that.
Are you meaning Gabor or are you meaning Ariana?
I mean Ariana, but also Gabor and Anton. So I want to see like this sort of like regular pattern of like they're checking in with someone.
Okay. Give me a tech check, please.
Okay.
Do you wish to push that?
I will do, yes. Let me push that 3.
Still just 1. Okay. Right. You're not able to find anything else untoward that seems odd and untoward at all. And you've been through back for, if you're prepared at the time, probably for a couple of weeks. Ariana seems to come to work, do her work, sing, leave at fairly standard times. No one really comes to see her at all. She seems to be quite a friendly person who, friendly and personable. She spends a lot of time talking to other staff members and to customers. She's very friendly. Gabor and Anton, I mean, you see multiple instances of them working with doing dance lessons with, and then performances with the various regular customers, those two, their respective regular customers, and but there's no one else doing anything odd. As far as you can tell, neither of the two of them leaves the Markova Ballroom at all during the last 2 weeks. But you will find some. So the whole thing, going back to the coats, it does appear that both of them on the start of today, when they came up from their apartments to start work, that's when they brought coats up.
They knew they were going out.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Falk, is there anything else further you want to do at the moment?
Now, I'm aware in the main, according to the rules, you can go to one location in a shift. Are you sticking with that, or
depends where else you want to go?
Well, I was also, someone needs to go to Roxy's strip club, and I mean,
that's downtime.
I think your visit to the HQ has been fairly brief. So yeah, so you're going to move on to Roxy's. I'll let you do that, certainly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So you do that. Okay. We'll come back to you in a sec. Because
no worries.
Okay. Right. I'll come back to Dallas in a sec if you've anything further you want to do. But I'm going to flip to Wildner and Barimen. Now, you've got 2 spinners. Are you going searching for Evie
Chakrota. That's what I was my. So I got two things I wanted to do sort of out on the street. One is finding Evie. Now that's become top priority since the film, the footage. And then I want to go and do some out in the street and catching up on connections and see what the word on the street is.
Okay.
Evie's now top priority.
Okay. Okay. Right. You made a very good connections roll for Evie. Right. Sorry, I just need to. Oh. Right. You make a few calls and so on, and eventually trace down Evie to Anemoid Row, which is known to both of you. It's a place where lots of replicant animals are for sale. Is one of the principal things going on, but there's other things around there. There's I mean, actually Roxy's is just around the corner from it, and there's bars and clubs and fast food places and stuff. And you eventually find Evie sat at a noodle stand, eating a little bowl of noodles.
Okay, I'll catch Barimen, before we get too close to it. So, that's
sorry. I started asking one question I forgot.
You
did have
spinners.
One spinner each. Have you gone in a separate spinner each, or have you put one of your spinners? You could have, on the way, you could have dropped one of your spinners at HQ if you wish.
Should we drop one off, or should we keep mobile? We're not paying for parking.
That's true. Yeah, we'll just go as we are.
Okay,
yeah, we'll go with each.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, sorry. So you give Barimen a look. You were saying, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, you hold back and catch her if she bolts, and I'll go up and approach because I've spoken to her before. So.
Okay, seeing as I'm at least 100 years younger than you, that's fine.
Right. So
grumble.
Evie sat at a noodle bar, sat at the counter eating a bowl of noodles.
Okay. Yeah, I'll saunter up. Hopefully there's a seat open next to her.
There's a seat next to her on her left. Yep, certainly.
So I walk up to the seat, signal the man, 4 noodles, and literally sit down at the same time. Go, evening, Evie. Nice footage.
Right.
Who said that?
She starts slightly and then turns and looks at you. Now, okay, you can decide this from your connections check. You know her, and she knows you, but does she know that you're a Blade Runner? Because obviously you're plain clothes. Does she know you're a Blade Runner, or does she just know you as something else? What would you like her to know you as? Or at least, what would you like to think she knows you as? I mean, she's a journalist. She may be working on some pretense that she doesn't know you're a Blade Runner, but she really does. But what do you think she knows you as?
I think that she probably knows him from before he was a Blade Runner. Okay. She may now know he is a Blade Runner, but probably haven't spoken to her really, and maybe kept tabs on her, but not really spoken to her since.
Okay.
Becoming a Blade Runner.
Okay.
So I'll say,
She goes, Reid, long time no see.
I nod. Yes. Well, I just watched a piece on the news, which was quite interesting. Seemed to have your fingerprints on it, so to speak.
She says,
have you seen the TV?
She says, I don't know what you mean. And then, rather obviously, glances round, checking out if you're alone or not. Barimen, can you please give me it would be a stealth check for just blending into the crowd and looking not suspicious.
That's going to be really difficult. I've got a 1 out of 10.
Yeah, that's 2 successes for the 10.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sorry, yes.
Right, so...
You are one with the shadows.
I'm not one.
What do you want?
My trench coat.
Okay. How do you mean it's got my fingerprints all over it?
As well, I've got sources. You know, I speak to a lot of people. I'm sure you remember that. And there this interesting piece with a shooting at the base of one of the Calabri Tower. I'm told it comes from your direction.
It's not my footage. I am merely the
purveyor, middleman,
editor.
Okay. And who's the source then? Come on.
What do you do for a living these days, Reid? Why are you asking?
I look into problems like this. It beats kicking around in the gutter like he used to. But
for who? Is this an official inquiry?
I say, it can be. Official means going somewhere unpleasant.
It doesn't have to be.
We can stay here.
Showing me a badge.
So he will reach into his coat, flashes Blade Runner badge.
Okay, she has a proper look at that, and her eyes narrow slightly. Okay. I'd heard you joined the police. I hadn't realised you were actually a Blade Runner now. Okay.
Yeah, well, they seem to like my talent for finding people.
And shooting people that deserve to be left alive.
Now, there are some nasty bits to the job. I'm not going to lie. I've got nothing against anyone, humans or replicants. It's what you do that matters.
But
now, that piece is footage that's been splashed around. You know, that's a slightly iffy piece of work, that one, isn't it? A bit sensationalist, certainly on the channel it came out on. It's a little short of a snuff movie. It's not really your style, is it?
Well, the truth will out. Someone was torturing a replicant. And
I agree, that's as bad as it gets, but that's not really the great channel for espousing your views. You know, that channel is just tripe.
I'm just the editor. Okay, yeah, I passed it on to some news stations as well. But I am just the editor.
Well, if you want me to get to the bottom of who did that to poor Anton, do you know Anton?
I do now.
Okay. Well, poor Anton didn't really do very well out of it. If I can follow up the source of that footage, maybe I can find out where that came from, and they'll know where the action really started from.
The problem is that the source of that footage is someone you're employed to retire.
Well,
and
I don't need to meet him.
You do remember that I have some quite. I'm a member of. I'm a paid-up member of Equality and.
Equality, that's the one.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. Like I say, I've got nothing against people either way. It's what they do that matters.
Can you give me a manipulation check, please?
Manipulation. Okay, I do have a reasonably good manipulation. I think I'm going to push that, see if I can squeeze a little bit more out of that one. That's D10. That's not going very well. Let's give it just a D10.
Still just one success.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you pushed the wrong dice there?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to come up. That's done both of them, isn't it? Yeah. I meant to just press the one.
Oh, they're both D10s. They're both D10s. It's fine. We got the right result in the end. Oh, sorry, no. So it should be 2 successes.
Yeah.
It should
be. Yeah, I wanted to keep the 9 and just roll
so
through.
It's 2 successes. Sorry, yes. So it's 2 successes now. Okay.
Oh, I know what I did. I pressed the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. You're not going to want to meet this guy because, well, with his situation, he's got an instant dislike of Blade Runners. I mean, your job is to kill him. So, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, you've put 2 and 2 together. Why would he meet with you?
Well, think of it this way: if he's lost the system, he can remain lost the system as long as he's not causing trouble, as far as I'm concerned. The problem I'm concerned about is what happened at the bottom of the Calabria Tower. Now, if you've got the real footage, that could help a lot. If he's the one that's got it, I'll need to see it. Or at least have some sort of drop.
I can get you a full copy of the footage.
Well, that would help a lot. I'd like to hear something from him and the how and the why. How did he know it was going on? What was his intel? But the footage is a good start.
I'll
put in a good word for me. Just say, if he stays quiet and behaves, I'm not interested. But if he can help us clear this up, do something for Anton.
Okay, give me a number to contact you on.
Okay, I'll give her a. I don't know. That's all I got in numbers.
Well, I think
a Kia, I suppose.
I think effectively your Kia can take an incoming call from a vid phone. I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm right in that.
I'll give her an appropriate ID that she can use then for contacting me.
Okay. Right. Okay. I'll let me right. stay here and I'll go and get a copy of the footage for you.
He says, all right. Well, before you go, one last question. You don't go ballroom dancing, do you?
No, that's sort of old-fashioned dancing, isn't it?
I don't know. They dance around in strange gowns, but yeah. Just
I like a bit more of a rave myself.
Understood. I'm in the same camp. All right, and I'll sort of sit back and.
Right.
As she's leaving and sort of heading off somewhere, I will get on the Kia and say to Barimen, keep an eye on her.
Should try and follow them.
Right. Barimen, give me an observation check.
Double success.
As she gets up from her seat and moves away from Wildner, she glances in your direction, definitely acting at you.
Oh, let's say to Wilder, I've been made. I'll turn around because I've been made. No problem.
Yeah.
I'll turn around and get on the Kia and say, I've been made. I can't follow her.
Okay, just keep your eyes on if you can. Keep an eye out if she comes back. She's supposed to be coming back.
Right.
Where does she go?
So you see her walk. Sorry. Where are we? Oh, sorry, I need to move you here.
Oh, that's what was after. The map of the city, I hope.
So this is a map of Anemoid Row.
Oh.
And you have just been sat at tasty.
I've got a lovely black screen.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, me too.
I can see a purple circle in the back screen.
I have the screen of doom.
Sorry, wrong one.
Might be Fog of War or something.
Have I not set this up correctly? Balls.
It came up with an error on mine about graphics, but that may be mine only. But I'm again also getting just a black.
Okay.
And it looks to me like the map is there, but it's occluded. Like
has that
with
made
Fog
any
of War.
difference?
No,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a beautiful black screen.
Oh. Right. Okay. I'll sort that out between sessions. I could spend ages doing that.
Yeah.
So just theatre of the mind. Then apologies. So you're at a noodle bar called Tasty Noodle. She wanders off away from there to and out of sight, off down a side alley, and then about 10 minutes later, she reappears coming from a different alley. Okay. And walks up to Wildner and hands you a little almost like optical data chip.
Okay. I will accept it.
That's got the full footage on it.
Thank you, Evie.
Not Wildner, sorry. Barimen, can you give me another observation check, please?
Indeed. I'm really kind of checking to see who's observing this transaction, funnily enough.
Yep.
I'll get a 1-er.
Do you wish to push?
Let me just have a look. So I got a 7 on the 8 and a 2 on the 10.
Push the 10.
I'll push the 10.
Push the 10.
Push the 10.
Ooh, look at that.
You are being watched. you both yourself and you managed to spot this without giving away that you've spotted the person watching you, with 3 successes. But someone is watching. They're not just watching the transaction; they're watching you as well. And
actually watching me, despite the fact I haven't interacted with them at all.
No,
that's a bit worrying.
Yeah.
They can spot a cop.
I might take my jacket off and see if I've got like target at the back.
It's someone who seems to have 3 successes. Where this guy is standing, you've been observing the whole area for a while. He wasn't standing there before, but you recognise him. It's the unknown man.
Oh, he's back.
He's back. Oh, I'm
never left.
He
never left.
So tempted to wave.
Give him a.
No, you want to do that.
That's what I'm thinking. Do you know what? I'll look at him and give him the salute.
He glares at you.
It's mind games time.
He's definitely set himself up in a place where he's got a clear couple of exit routes to run away.
I'm not following him.
Yeah, but no, more just you observe this, right? And Evie gives you the digital, the optical data chip, and then backs off and says, I hope you find that useful.
I'm sure I will. Just getting some decent footage is going to help a lot. But if you can speak to your friend and maybe get him to give me a call, I'm sure he could fill in some blanks.
Okay. I will talk to him.
Appreciate it, Evie. Good work.
And then he backs off. Sorry, she backs off. And she walks back down the second alley, the alley she entered from. And Barimen, you see as she is starting to get out, then this unnamed man also disappears off.
As expected.
Yep.
I will stick the data chip straight in my Kia, assuming I can, and upload it immediately. So,
is the unknown man following her, or did he?
I think the unknown man was the source of the footage.
I think the unknown man was the source of the footage. He's not in any records. He
happened to be around the tower.
He retired. He was around the tower.
Yeah.
Don't know who he is yet, but he's obviously an N8 that's trying to avoid retirement.
Indeed. However.
Okay. So the footage. So once you get a full view of the footage, it has sound as well, and you've got there is a bit of footage. I mean, you got literally from the moment it's turned on. So you've actually got it crawling along. Bear in mind, the footage is the right way up, but the legs are above it. It's as it crawls along the ceiling, and that's a bit jerky movement, and it gets to a point and then locks itself in place. And the camera scans around a bit, and by this stage, Anton is strung up and has already clearly been tortured. And from looking at the state of him, he's already been tortured for a while. And this torture session seems to have gone on for quite a while.
I mean, we know he left at 6 or so, right?
6, yeah. And we didn't get there till like
he
half
died
9.
Probably like a couple hours later. So
the firefight starts at about 9 o'clock. There is a timestamp on this footage, and it's about 29. You've got Checky. You've got over 20 minutes of footage. Okay.
Should get some good faces on this, hopefully.
Well, The only one with his face uncovered is still Lars Avant. Okay. You do occasionally, it does pan around. It does get, you see a further, hang on a sec. I think it's 3 other people who seem to be sort of patrolling around, standing at sort of ready positions at the on the ground floor of the mall. They're all of them are dressed in fairly functional, nondescript clothing. One of them is female, the other 2 are male, but they already have got face masks up and keeping their seem to be already keeping their identity secret. Yeah.
We match the partial faces with, I think, Mikey and Carl. They were both in the sort of hand-gunned crew.
No, they're.
Can I run through the situations just to make sure that I understand this? So Lars was one of the torturers of Anton.
Yep.
Right. Who was the favorite of Avril Desai.
Yep.
Right. Lars is a Takash BioWare security team leader.
Yep.
And Desai is a bioengineer working for the same company.
Correct.
Right. So, yeah, what I'm thinking is maybe she told something, and she told Anton something, and they were trying to figure out what it was. Right. Because he is the security team of the company she works for as a scientist or as an engineer.
Worrying about leaks, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, something like that, maybe.
And
so that matches what we've got. I'm not saying it's what's happened, but it matches. So I'm not missing any.
Nope. In fact, it's the only thing that is slightly different to that is actually revealed by some of the questions from the torturing.
We got the questions in video.
At least some of them. It's already been some questions going on. And
okay,
from the tone of the I forgot his name, Lars Avant. From the tone of Lars Avant, he's clearly frustrated because Anton is not. He thought Anton would give him more information more quickly. And he says, sorry. So there's a lot of repeated questions about, right. I know you've been drugging. I'm saying to Anton, I know you've been drugging Desai and getting information out of her. Who are you working for? And what have you done with the optical disc that you stole?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just information. There appears to be a missing optical data disk.
Interesting.
And just going back to the footage that Barimen and Wildner are watching. Well, actually, to be honest, it's shared to the other 2 of your keys as well, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So it's I'm just trying to think. Sorry. The sequence of events, to summarise. So there's torture goes on for about 20 minutes, and then there's some real sort of creaking, very loud creaking of metal noises, which appears to flip off all the security guys. Yep. And so there's 3, one woman, 2 men seem to be working for Lars Avant, who all as stuff starts to they already had masks up, they already had pistols out, but this seems to flip them into almost sort of like a ready drill, and they start to back off. Lars puts the mask up over his face at the sound of this noise, and the camera has pulled back at this point to a wide angle. It doesn't cover the door, but then there's a very bang and crash and stuff like that, which sounds probably like the metal plate and the doors being ripped out and so on, as you've been told happened and you've observed the results of. And then the Lars Avant and his three on the ground floor start firing as they start. A number of people start rushing in, and there's quite a bit of screaming, yelling, brandishing of weapons, which is just responded to. Sorry, that's by the people charging in. There's then responded to by short, sharp bursts from the guys on the ground floor. Yeah, and now you've got the footage. It does look that initially they're firing suppressive fire to try and dissuade people from advancing. They're not actually trying to shoot to kill anyone initially. And they start backing off, and then Avant screams an order to as he the phrase he uses is "go loud," okay, and then at least another two from the sound it's machine pistols from up on the mezzanine level, probably by the top of the escalators, start firing, and that's when the amount of fire dramatically increases. This is what you heard on the video, where there were clearly two people. There's always someone firing at quite a high cyclic rate. Okay, there's then smoke grenades are deployed, and the people start backing up the stairs. And at one point, you see one of the guys reloading, and he's taking out what's like a pistol size magazine and pulling from his pocket some kind of extended magazine, plugging that inserting that into his machine pistol, and then he's starting to fire at a much more sustained rate of fire. And the amount of bullets that are flying, it's remarkable that only 2 died. But then you've got blood from a number of other people, so a number of other ones were hit. But they then exit up the. Oh, sorry, I've skipped one thing. You see footage of Lars Avant. When it all starts to kick off, he just turns and puts a shot through Anton's head. That bizarrely wasn't put on the footage released to the police, to the news station. Sorry. Have we lost Rick?
I'm back, but I missed that last 30, 40 seconds.
Okay, sorry. So your camera's off, just in case you weren't aware.
We can see him again.
Oh, you can see him again. Is that my? Okay, right.
Mine says unstable internet connection.
For some reason, my BT router keeps on dropping me.
Okay, I've got to finish soon, so we'll just finish this bit, and then I'll have to pause. I have to stop for the week. They then pull up the escalators with continued fire, and then as such, a couple of the attackers get shot down, which are the 2 bodies you found. Others are hit, and the footage then abruptly stops at that point. Sorry. It seems like the attackers start to withdraw a bit, or certainly pause. The defenders have got back up the escalators and then are withdrawing. And that point the footage just stops dead at that point, like possibly they didn't want to show you further footage from there. So it's not a complete copy. Second.
So it's still been edited. It's just we've got more of it.
Yes, it's had the. It looks like it's had the ending cut off. Okay. I'm afraid I've got a hard stop there.
Okay.
So we'll have to start next time with Falk going to Roxy's, because that will be very interesting. But let's right. So we'll come. Right. Let me just finish. Right. So thanks for anyone watching. There'll be another episode hopefully next week or at some point. But thanks for watching and goodbye for now.